Before we start, let me emphasize that it's extremely important that there are no vacuum leaks between the carburetor and the cylinder head. If there are vacuum leaks, you can't get a valid mixture adjustment through this process. If your car is running, you can spray carburetor cleaner or propane around all the joints behind the carburetors, that is, between the carburetor and cylinder head, and see if any of that affects the running speed of the engine. If it does, you need to go back and look for leaks. After spending a lot of time kind of wild ass guessing on my mixture on my carburetor setup here, I decided it was time to go back in and set up the baseline adjustments on the jets and the butterflies and that sort of thing, which I haven't done in a long time, and I've been struggling to get good smooth running. And the only real way to get started with this is to find out the relative positions of the jets on the two carburetors. And to do that, you kind of have to disassemble everything. So you can look down in here at the jet itself, the adjustable jet, and see how they look. And mine were way out of whack. And the first step in adjusting them is to bring them up flush with the body of the carburetor. And you do that by adjusting the mixture adjustment nut down here on the bottom. Excuse me, this is a little hard to do. And you adjust this by turning this clockwise to bring it up and counterclockwise to bring it down. I found out in particular the front one was already up flush, which is not the right place for it to be. You start out by adjusting these two turns down from flush. So that's what we're going to do right now, is we're going to turn them down and see if we can't get started on adjusting these things properly. First thing I've done is marked one of the flats on the adjustment nut on each carburetor so that I can tell when I've made a full turn using my special SU carburetor adjustment tool, which is a cut-off 5/8 inch spanner. All of this holds true for a single carburetor setup as well. We're going to get into balancing these two carburetors, which of course is not a problem with a single carburetor system, but the adjustment of the jets is the same on a single carburetor system. It's important to note that you shouldn't mix up the components, the slide valves and the vacuum bells, between the two carburetors, just because of slight differences in machining. They should probably all work fine, but if you got it working, everything moving freely, mark them so you know that they're going back where they came from, just to eliminate any doubt. I did a kind of integrity check on the condition of the float needles by running the fuel pump while I had it apart like this, and if the floats were leaking, you should see it coming out of the jets here, and nothing happened. It was dry as a bone. The pump clicked a couple of times and then quit, which is what it's supposed to do. The throttle slide is keyed so it can only go in one way. And the reason for that is that there are these vacuum holes in the back of the slide where manifold vacuum comes in to actually lift the slide in the bell. Seat the bell carefully on the top of the carburetor, and as you're putting it on, tighten these screws down a little bit each side, one at a time, and as you're doing it, make sure that the slide still moves up and down freely and falls on its own weight and clunks down on the jet bridge. If it does bind up, there's some play in these screws, and you can try moving this bell around a little bit, and it might get rid of that friction that's causing the slide to not drop properly.